3 reasons why the New York Knicks will beat the Milwaukee Bucks in the NBA in-season tournament, and why we really shouldn't be panicking. My name is Weasel, and these are my 3 reasons why I truly believe the Knicks are going to beat the Bucks, man. We are playing the Bucks on Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time on TNT for the NBA in-season tournament. First round of the knockout round, I believe. The quarterfinals is what they're calling it. And I got to say, man, I think the in-season tournament has been a huge success, in my opinion. I think they got to work on the stakes and what they got on the line a little bit. But for the first one, it really had us kind of on a random Tuesday looking at scores and running up the numbers, like RJ said. And it's kind of a nice take and something refreshing for the early parts of the season. So I think thumbs up to Adam Silver and the NBA for the in-season tournament. Like I was saying, man, I want to get into the reasons why I think that the Bucks are actually going to have to sweat this game out against the Knicks. Now, we recently just played the Bucks. November 3rd was that day. And since then, both teams have kind of followed a little different trajectory. The Bucks are 13-5 on the season. Knicks are 10-7, I believe, at this point. But here's the thing, man. I don't think the Bucks are reflective of that record at all. I think that defensively, there's a lot of decline since they lost Drew Holiday. They're still getting the job done, but it leads me to point number 1, which was the strength of schedule and how it might be a little bit false and letting you know how good the Milwaukee Bucks actually are. So I found this website, Power Rankings Guru, shout out to them. They have a statistic here that they call the strength of schedule played chart. And on this chart, basically what it's doing is showing the average ranking for each opponent that a given team has faced to date. So it's reflective every day. They update it every day. For example, they have the Warriors that's so far having the hardest strength of schedule based on opponents played. They also have our Knicks at 13, kind of right in the middle of the league, 10-7. Now, what's really interesting, if you come down here at number 27 with a nice little green bubble next to them, we have the Milwaukee Bucks. That is implying that the Milwaukee Bucks have had a very easy schedule up until this point in the season. Another thing I want to look at is their margin of victories for some of these teams, man. Zoom in on this. They're barely beating teams that they really should be beating. I mean, they beat Portland, by 6. They barely escaped that Miami game. I know it looks like it's a 7-point victory, but they barely escaped in that Miami game. Of Washington, 3-point victory. They lost to Boston by 3 points. Again, with Washington, this 142-129 game, that game was a 2-point game going into the 4th. I just don't think that they're hyped up to be in terms of like defensively stopping a team. And clearly, their strength of schedule has been on the easier side. So if you ask me, we know what our schedule was in the beginning of the year. We had to earn it. Those first 10 games were pretty rough for us. We still held it down. I think we did really well. So I think the margin of where the records might reflect a better Milwaukee team or the reputation might reflect a better Milwaukee team, I don't think it's pretty accurate, man. Leads me to point number 2. We've played this Milwaukee Bucks team before. That game was a very back and forth, up and down game. Jalen Brunson cooked. Lillard and Giannis figuring out their chemistry. They still were able to cook. There was one man who did not cook. And me and this guy, we got a really interesting relationship, okay? I can't lie. Julius Randle is somebody who I have a love-hate relationship with, okay? Love that he's on my team. Appreciate him for everything he does. Besides that, I wish he would get off the team. I wish we would trade him. I don't like how that's for another video, okay? Julius Randle has averaged 13.7 points, 10.5 rebounds, and 5.2 assists up until that Milwaukee game. Counting that Milwaukee game. That's Julius Randle's stat line for the first few games of the season. He was very, very underwhelming, in my opinion. 16 points, 12 rebounds, which we know he's always going to cherry pick the rebounds. I'm sorry, it is what it is. And then he had 5 assists. He shot 25% from the field that game. We shouldn't have had that close of a game with Milwaukee of all teams based on Julius Randle's play. But here's where it gets interesting, in my opinion. Normally, I'm not like a big statistics guy. I go off of the eye test, okay? You'll hear me say that a lot. Eye test, some tinfoil hat talk. Let's like go off what we see. what we've seen recently is Julius Randle playing a little bit better. Oops, sorry, this is wrong tab. This is Julius Randle's stat line since that Milwaukee game, okay? Now, after November 3rd, so as of November 6th, these are his stats. 23.5 points, 10 rebounds, 5.2 assists in the 11 games since November 6th. That to me signifies a somewhat better Julius Randle and a more difficult matchup for this Milwaukee Bucks team. Now, we know Julius Randle had been struggling in the beginning of the year. It was no surprise, whether it was the ankle, whether it was just playing shape, whether it was just Julius being up and down Julius. The fact is he was not himself up until that point. And it almost seems like, based on his stats here, that was the game that kind of triggered him back. So maybe he took that Giannis matchup personally. This is a team that they're going to play a lot. It's going to be 5 times in total this year, twice within 3 days, right around Christmas. He's got to get it going, bro. Like, he has to be Julius Randle, the all-star, the all-NBA Julius Randle. And from what we're seeing here over these last 11 games, he's kind of been back to that. So again, with that margin of victory that was so small from that first game, really don't see how Julius Randle doesn't add to that Knicks team. Kind of makes this matchup a little bit more difficult for the Bucks. Point number 3, our fearless leader, Jalen Brunson. The man is having an amazing year. Jalen Brunson is like, I mean, if he's not God's gift to Knicks fans at this point, like, we haven't had a point guard in so long. Now we have an all-star caliber, low-key MVP caliber point guard leading our team. He's proven, man, he's doing what he has to do. He has a matchup against Damian Lillard that he is going to cook, absolutely cook. And here's my proof for that. Now, Jalen Brunson's averaged 30 points per game, 29.8 points per game for the Knicks against the Milwaukee Bucks in his career. It's only been 4 games. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, well, he had 45 last game against Dame. Well, that's going to be true again this time. He's going to go against Dame again. And I really don't see how they switch anyone in that starting lineup for them that would not create a mismatch somewhere else to take on Jalen Brunson. But here's the thing. Jalen Brunson did this against that Milwaukee Bucks team earlier this year in January. Jalen Brunson put up 44 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists against Jrue Holiday being the primary defender against him. So whether it's just the matchup against Milwaukee or it's just truly Jalen Brunson, I'm not worried about him, and I think he's going to eat. He had an off game this past game. He's going to be hungry. He knew the bright lights were on. It's going to be a nationally televised game. All-Star campaign is loading. Jalen Brunson is going to cook Damian Lillard in that in-season tournament elimination game. That is my word. Now, the last game, first game against Damian Lillard specifically, because that was against Jrue Holiday. We all know the stat line. Jalen Brunson cooked for 45 points. He shot 2 of 8 from 3, which we know he can shoot a little bit better now. Recently, he's been shooting really, really well from 3. So there's potential for him to maybe squeeze out a couple of points and put up a 50 bone against this team. And again, I just don't see how the Bucks are going to match up against him. Like, who in this starting lineup, is it Malik Beasley that you put on Jalen Brunson? I don't see it. It's going to create mismatches somewhere else, because then you'll have, potentially RJ Barrett or Quentin Grimes, who needs to step it up. That's for another video. Make sure you like and subscribe. Quentin Grimes is going to have to step it up if they do somehow switch it against Jalen Brunson and put Malik Beasley on him. But I don't see them doing that. Regardless, I don't think it really puts that much fear in Jalen Brunson's heart. And it clearly doesn't affect his stat line, because Mans was cooking against him last game. 45 points last game, 44 points in January. I don't see how Jalen Brunson does not do the same thing in an elimination game on TNT, nationally televised game. Those are my 3 points. Those are my 3 points, y'all. I really feel like, you know what? It's going down on Tuesday. I think we eliminate the Bucks. I think it's going to be a close game, but I really, really do believe that we're going to take that victory. Make sure you like the video, please. It's going to help me out. I'm getting this out the mud, man. You can see it's 0 subscribers as of the first upload of this video. I'm going to be releasing also a video on some Knicks picks. I might do it as a live stream. I like to do little $5 parlays, man. I don't believe in throwing hundreds and thousands of dollars out there for gambling, but I think it's pretty fun leisurely. And as a Knicks community, I think it would be really cool. So I do pretty well with those. If you want to pay attention to what I got as far as Knicks picks for that upcoming game and all the games this week, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe on the video. I will see y'all next time. My name is Weasel. Don't worry, y'all. I don't think we got much to be panicking about this time.